Yes, welcome back from that short break, and thank you for still being here with us. And of course, I'm still here with Dr. Albert Byamgisha, the chairman of board of directors of UBOS. And of course, because you know the census is going to, the launch is today and it's going to be starting very soon. All of you will be found home. We're going to have a public holiday and all that. And before the short break, I had a question for you, doctor. I said, so we have so many Ugandans that are migrating to other countries to go and work, and they are looking for jobs in other countries, even though these sometimes others go and work abroad, and you know someone can say, hey, people are dying in those countries, but Ugandans still go, and they're like, you know what, I need to go and work for my children, I need to work for my family. What do you think could be the cause of this? Do you think it's because of the increased population, or the increased population that is bringing the unemployment in the country?
I think it is both. The increase in population, of course, brings in scarcity of jobs. As I have told you, like children below 18 years, in the 2014 population census were 55%.
Okay.
And the growth rate at that time was 3%. So we may find that next year, when we conduct the population census, the children below 18 years may be more than 30, maybe more than 55%, around 60 or 70. And the jobs we have in the country here are not many. And that's why now the government is trying to find all possible ways to make sure that we attract even the investors, so that at least when we have factories, we have agro-industrialization structures, etc., all the people are engaged and get jobs. And at least make sure they earn an income. So in so doing, people find their way out to get jobs and be able to survive. Now, what the country is trying to do many things, but the question is, do we know how many? We are going to conduct a survey. It is called the Labor Force Survey, which starts this month, trying to know, to look at the labor force in this country. But for the people who have left, there are people who pass through companies when they are going, and at least the Ministry of Gender and Labor for Development, they have that information, and even the new boss will have some information. But there are people who go on their own, and we don't have records on that one there. And we intend to conduct a census. Okay. In the future, it will be a census of people who are Ugandans and they are living abroad. Oh. And we do that through the embassies, because most countries, of course, where we have embassies, they know the Ugandans who are in that country. Yes. Because it is to their advantage to register themselves when they go to that country. Yes. But even, of course, before we end this population census, we intend also to do that. Okay. And then after that, we should be able to follow up the Ugandans who have gone up and what they are doing. But otherwise, when you look at our financial figures, every year Ugandans remit money back home. And the money is much. It's quite much. So these people who have gone home are also very useful, who have gone outside, are also very useful, because they have most of their earnings, they send it back to their homes. Others are building homes, they are buying more land, some have started agriculture, and so forth. So even in most countries, definitely, usually look for jobs for their people. So it's not a bad policy to have our people going outside, those who cannot find jobs. But even again, of course, the government is trying to make sure they improve on the services of the public servants, so that they remain on the jobs where they are. But mostly, the people who have gone outside have, yes, some very, very few have gone for greener pastures, but majority have gone to look for jobs. They go, they come back. So even if it comes this, whatever, very few people, of course, suffer. But now the conditions are trying to improve. But they are making and earning on the same.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. So is there an example of how NPHC data has data has been designed and implement programs aimed at boosting the economic growth? The data that you have, usually that you get with the NPHC that you get, how is it aimed at the economic growth?
First of all, the data collected helps in policy formulation.
Okay.
When a government is going to set up a policy, it must be evidence-based. Evidence-based means that they have data which is actual and which is collected. And if the government set up a policy, then they are basing on the data. So for policy formulation, they use data. Then planning policy uses data. So when we are developing this national development plan, definitely the plan uses data because they must have a baseline. And with a baseline, definitely use the data to look at the social, economic, and environmental transformation of this country. So how are we going to transform? Which data are we going to use? It must be the official data. So we are using this data for economic transformation of this country. We use it for monitoring progress of the plan we are doing. Okay. And then at every stage, government is advised on how it is performing in different areas. Otherwise, there is no way the government will know that there is a problem in this region or in the other region, and we need to do this when they don't have information.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. So, and another question for you, after the census that is going to take place, okay, 1 month has passed after the census, then what?
We have 3 stages of census.
Yes.
The pre-enumeration stage, this is the stage we are at now, planning for the census, where we develop questionnaires, validate them with different stakeholders, and then make sure we get ready for the census, creating awareness like this launch, then awareness, training the people who will be using the gadgets. We are going to use the tablets, and then on the census period, starting from 9th and 10th, that gazetted night. Then after 10 days, of course, we stop the census. That is a stage. That is the second stage. Then the third one is post-census. Post-census is where now we start analyzing the information, and then produce the data. And we hope to have the preliminary results after 2 months. By July, we should be able to have preliminary results of the census. And then after that, after 1 year, we make sure we complete the exercise by getting the complete data. Yeah, so those are 3 stages: pre, during, and after. So after the census, we have to process the information, the data we have collected, and make sure that we come up with the final, actual, credible data.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. Is it, can Uganda learn from best practices in other countries regarding the use of census data for economic growth?
Oh yeah, all the countries actually are expected. It's a must that countries, if they are to plan very well, conduct censuses and surveys. For example, in the East African region, 3 countries have already conducted their censuses in this group period: Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. And we are following up now. The other remaining ones may plan and conduct before end of next year. But otherwise, for any country to develop, they need to use the data for informing them, to use the data to inform them where they are, so that they can take a decision on what to do. So all countries conduct censuses.
Okay. Okay, so we also talked about the migration, immigrants and everything, but we have some people that usually go out of the country. So this specific date that you have chosen for the census, when it comes and then you're done doing the census today and then this person lands in the country tomorrow, doesn't it mean you did a miscount? If the
person comes in tomorrow, remember I've talked of 10 days, starting from the night of 9th and 10th, and then after 10 days, by 20th of that month of May, we stop the census, and by then we shall have covered the whole country. But if a person comes in between, definitely will be counted.
Okay. Okay, so also the ongoing initiatives or projects aimed at strengthening the use of the NPHC data for economic development, is there anything that you people have put in place?
Which place now?
Like research, publications produced by UBOS.
No, UBOS have many publications. We do 2 types of data collection. We have the censuses. Census usually takes place after every 10 years. It is huge, expensive, so it takes quite a longer time. And other type of census is agricultural census. Like we conducted the agricultural census, we are analyzing and trying to validate the data. In a few months' time, we should be able to come up with a report on the agricultural data of this country.
Yes.
Then we have surveys, which are conducted every 5 years. And these surveys, of course, are short. They depend on samples. They don't collect information on all the characteristics we are talking about. So all the time when we do that, we publish, we make publications, and we have got the statistics abstract, which is produced every year.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you see, with the increased number of population in the country, most of the time, we had talked about the unemployment, and after doing the counting and everything, when you look at the country at large, the way it is, the education system, do you think it has been affected in any way by the population increase?
Oh yes, the education system is affected, because if you see, for example, when UPE started in 1997, where government put a policy, education for all children who were eligible. Children who were eligible meant that children who were 6 years and above were eligible to go to school without paying any school fees.
Yes.
When the government started, we had about 2.7 million. No, before the UPE, before 1997, we had 2.7 million children. But when the program started, the number rose up to actually now about 8 million children.
Wow.
Meaning that there were very many children who were at home but could not have an opportunity to go to school. So government put that policy to make sure that children who are eligible to study should go to school, and indeed many children have gone to school and have benefited from that program. Then we also have universal secondary education, where these children who finish primary go to secondary education. And because it is also free for government schools, children have benefited. Some have dropped out, not very many, but the majority have benefited. And of course, how did the government come to know that? Because when they were saying every sub-county, every parish should have a primary school. And very many have been constructed throughout the country.
These ones are for Catholics?
No, for government. The government has put up very many primary schools in this country. They use that because of the information which we got from statistics, from the Bureau of Statistics, telling us that there are so many schools with so many pupils, many girls, many boys at different ages. And that necessitated the government to plan for those children who were in primary schools. And that's when the government opened up secondary schools to be free for government children. Yeah,
so at least the government got to work on the education sector of the children. But you know, with the developing times and the increasing population and the changing of things here and there, we've seen that the education system is changing every day and each year, whereby schools, many people have schools, many people are opening schools, and education is becoming so expensive. So with the increased population, so as a country, the education sector, we find it that it is actually becoming more and more expensive for us, which is not good.
Yeah, it is more expensive, but then I think government is, as I've told you, we have a government and we have government opened up, of course, that privatization policy, where people have set up schools. And if you are interested in a private school and you can manage, you take your child to the private school. But otherwise, if you cannot, then you take your child to the government primary school.
Maybe it's because...
And that one will study.
Yes.
You will not be chased away. And many people have tried that. But because, of course, people try to hike because they want money, and set up good schools, and if you can manage, you do that. And many people have managed and they have done that. There are even people sending their children outside, and that's what we are saying. Let us work together. Let us support the government to make sure that even the schools which have been constructed by government, where the services are free, children can enter free. If we all support it, government will be okay, because you know teachers, the number of teachers have increased to meet the demand of the children who are in those schools, but the need is actually concerted effort by all people. Yeah, by all people. But of course, this is a free economy where you can do what you want. You can send your children outside, you can educate them in Uganda through private schools, but there is government schools. There is that option.
Yes, government schools, yes, are in place, but since the census is going to be taking place, after the census takes place, because you said the schools were constructed after the government found out that many children were home after carrying out the census back in the years. So this time around, since these days we are more, that means there are more children. And you know, the government schools we have, of course, not many children can actually be there. One class can't have 100 pupils, and one stream can't have more than 50 pupils, because you know a teacher needs to. So do you think the government will actually look at constructing more schools after the census is carried out?
Yes, and definitely that is the use of census data.
Yes.
The government is actually investing heavily in this census, because government wants to know how many children are in school. Do they have facilities? What do we need to do for planning, so that when they are planning for schools, they use the data which has been collected. And that's why this census is being collected.
Yes.
So that they can provide and improve on social services.
Yes.
For many people.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Albert Byamgisha, for honoring the invite and coming to the studios and throwing more light on the census that is going to take place. At least the Ugandans know what is going on and they are well informed. So do you have any closing remarks for our viewers before we go?
Our viewers, thank you very much, Charlotte.
Yes,
but to our viewers, we are inviting you to go to Kororo, and if you can't reach Kororo, go to the media houses and listen in when His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, is launching the census. And we are calling upon you to all participate in this initiative, because it is of national importance, it is good for everyone, and if we want this country to develop, definitely we need data.
Yes.
So we are asking you to participate in the census and inform all others that the night of 9th and 10th May 2024 is gazetted for the census, and counting starts on 10th. And people should be ready to be counted, so that we can transform this country economically, socially, and environmentally.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much for also honoring me. But Doctor, before I let you go, I have one last question for you. So you said there was a budget that was put up and you people were given money to carry out the census. So this money that was given to you as the people that are working in this sector, is the money going to be enough, or after some time in those 10 days you're going to be asking for more money to
the money which has been planned for the census activities will be enough.
Okay.
It was planned for, presented to cabinet,
Yes.
cabinet approved it, and it will be available.
Okay.
It is enough. So there will be no gap.
Uganda government
Thank you very much. Uganda government oil.
Oh, yeah.
The NRM government oil.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today in the studio and giving us all that information. I hope to see you next time to join us again.
Please come and join us at Koro this afternoon.
We will come.
Thank you.
Our lovely viewers, thank you for being with us. And you know, of course, like always, tomorrow we're going to be here with you 7 in the morning until 10. Right now, we're Business Insight. That's the segment we're going with. And right now, I'm going to say goodbye to you. Have a lovely day. It was lovely to be with you.